Yes, people, I'm Srini and you are watching MTAC TV. On today's show, we have two guys that are making their first caps today. They're making their debuts tonight. It's Ninad and Pranay. And of course, you know Amok from our lives, man. He's been on the Champions League final. He's a very, very happy man. His team's won the Champions League. Although Belgium did go out, so some balance there. But anyway, we're here to preview England versus Ukraine for the quarterfinal. Really interesting game. So let's not waste any more time. We have a lot of things to analyze. Let's look at the lineups. I'll read the England lineup and I'll give Amok the impossible task of reading out the Ukrainian lineup. So let's not waste any more time. For England, Jordan Pickford starts in goal. The back four is pretty standard. Kyle Walker starts at right back. John Stones partners Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw plays at left back. The usual double pivot of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips start. Mason Mount is back into the 11 as well. And Jadon Sancho starts after completing his move to Manchester United. So that's big news. And of course, Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane start. So pretty standard lineup, and they've moved away from the three at the back. Amog, here you go. The stage is yours. Ukrainian lineup, let's go.
All right, let's go with the Ukraine lineup. So looks like Ukraine is playing a 3-5-2 with Bushkan in goal, Matvienko, Krivtsov, Zabernty. These are the back three, the defenders, and we've got five midfielders of Karavayev, Sidorchuk, Shaparenko, Zinchenko, Michaelenko, and up top we've got Yaremchuk and Yarmolenko. Jesus, that took a little bit of time.
Well done, man. Nicely done. All right. So let's analyze the England lineup, right? I'll go to you, Ninad, for this. What do you make of the lineup?
It's pretty after the Germany game, they have done pretty good to keep all their players except the new introduction of Jadon Sancho, which is really surprising. But I am very happy about it because Sancho has been missing in this tournament, and maybe he's the X factor which England are missing because, as you know, they have just scored 4 goals throughout the tournament. And for a team with this much striking capabilities and players like Kane, Sterling, scoring 4 goals is pretty less. So Sancho could add something to that, and I'm pretty excited to watch Sancho link up with Sterling and Kane.
Yeah, I mean, great shouts right there. Same question to you, Pranay. What's your immediate reaction to the lineup?
So what's my immediate reaction would be that they're going aggressive. They're not going the way that they did against Germany, trying to resist the German team for a few minutes, like 60, 70 minutes, and then going all out and being aggressive. They're trying to be aggressive from the front foot, which is actually a very good sign for them. It is however, surprising to see Sancho suddenly because given what happened last game, and now he seems to be the X factor person. He seems to be the kind of person who is able to drag defenders, which is required in a low block because it seems like they are going to be setting up in a low block. So you need a dribbler to drag defenders out so that you can have people underlapping or overlapping, which is exactly the task that he will be given.
Yeah. Great point as well. And of course, we are going to micro-analyze England because that's how it works. So, same question to you, Amog. What do you make of the lineup?
Well, I had written about this lineup in one of our articles, and I predicted this setup of a 4-2-3-1, and finally we're seeing it come into action, at least in the knockouts. So it's a good sign. And with Mount back in the squad and Sancho back in the squad, there's that element of creativity and pace that England have sort of lacked in this tournament. They've been playing decent football. I mean, they've not scored enough goals. So this is definitely a boost, coming into this match. And Ukraine, are this tournament's maybe Portugal. I mean, they've been a third place team in the group stage, and they've done well. They've got a great win against Sweden in the previous round. So yeah, it'll definitely be a match worth watching. But Srini, what do you think about this England-Ukraine fixture?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting fixture for sure. I think that firstly, Andriy Shevchenko, it's just great to see that he is managing them because almost a decade ago he played in the same fixture. So it's just it's funny how life comes around, I suppose. But yeah, I think it's lineup-wise. I mean, I will give Gareth Southgate a lot of credit for his tactical masterclass against Germany because I really think it was. He could have budged and played a 4, but he'd get slapped by Germany because Germany's wingbacks are terrific. But that didn't happen. And you know what? He was very firm and he didn't sort of get swayed by public opinion. But here as well, it's good that he's played a four at the back. I mean, there's no need to go extra defensive today. I don't like Grealish's exclusion, though. I'll be honest. I still think that Jack Grealish changes the game whenever he comes on the pitch. And to be fair, whenever he starts, he looks like England's best player by a country mile. Mason Mount is not really needed in this kind of a game because Jack Grealish's chance creation is different level. I mean, I know the Chelsea bias exists, but to be honest, there's just no way that Jack Grealish shouldn't be in that starting 11 for me. So I'm not happy about that. I think he should have been there. I think Mason Mount is a hybrid of a 10 and an 8, and Grealish is a 10 and a winger. So just why not go for it? That's why you have Jadon Sancho starting as well, and not someone like Saka who's better defensively. So yeah, man. I mean, I would have liked to see him go for it a little more, but otherwise, I think it's a pretty good lineup, and yeah, I'm expecting a fun game. But all right, let's analyze other aspects of the game now. I'll go to you, Amog. Harry Kane has finally scored, right? What do you make of Harry Kane in this tournament? Obviously, he's not had a good tournament, but where do you stand on the whole debate? And we had this discussion in the last live as well. I'm personally someone who still really backs him. I think the slander is ridiculous. But what do you make of it?
To be quite honest, he's been the invisible man. It's only that he's turned up in the last game. He's sort of, not been able to connect with the midfield and the top two wingers in these games. And yes, he's definitely playing an important role. He's making the right runs inside the box. He's allowing Sterling to, be in the form that he's in right now. So it's definitely exciting for him, to make those opportunities for England to be in the position they're in. But yeah, I mean, we would, as someone who's probably arguably one of the best strikers in the world behind Lewandowski today. Yeah, he deserves to put his name up in this stage well, and hopefully he delivers today. I see him. I want to say that he'll score a brace today. I mean, it's a little bit far fetched, but England have been doing really well in a 4-2-3-1. At least this formation is purely the sort of England side that we all love to see, and this is something that they're using in the tournament for the first time in a while. So yeah, I would love to see Kane, Sancho, Sterling, Mount link up, and hopefully today he gets those goals in. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Harry Kane has obviously, as you just mentioned, not good enough, even though he has been contributing in other aspects of the game. But from a striker like Harry Kane, you expect one main thing, that is goals. And goals have been missing for England, not just Harry Kane, but for England in general. And today, I think instead of having now not like we had in Germany, like against Germany, that it was a matching of the two formations and then playing across their strengths and weaknesses. Today, as Pranay mentioned, that it is going to be all out attack, and I do expect a few penalty shouts, and definitely a penalty, and then a penalty Harry Kane, that's a goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll go to Pranay for this one as well, and then I'll ask Pranay about Jadon Sancho because I'm sure he'd love to talk about that for the rest of the show. But I mean, my take on Kane generally is that he's not had a good tournament. We can't deny that. But he looks he looks very tired and injured. He looks very fatigued. So that's another thing. So you can't control that because the number of games he plays for Spurs, especially with his injury record, if he's injured, it's not really his fault if he's not playing well. And another thing is that you see someone like Lukaku who thrives for Belgium, because Inter in Belgium have a very similar setup where they play a three at the back and Lautaro attacks the spaces when Lukaku takes out the right centre back. For Belgium, Kevin De Bruyne does that a lot when he plays as a false nine. This system, England system and Spurs systems couldn't be any more different. Raheem Sterling is very similar to Son in the sense that he's a fast winger, but he doesn't play like that. He doesn't constantly make those runs all the time. Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho, all these guys want the ball to feet. So Harry Kane should not be expected to change his game when he's got the most assists and goals in the league. It should be the opposite, where the others should be adjusting their game to Harry Kane's strengths. It's almost like saying that. What example can I give you? Di Maria should Messi should adjust to Di Maria. It should not be the opposite thing. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So It's a bit odd. The criticism is a bit odd. I mean, it's a bit over the top, and there's no better alternative as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's game is just based aerially. That's pretty much it. Rashford is not a striker. So who do you play there? So I think the whole discussion is a bit silly. But anyway, I hope he scores. Pranay, I'll go to you. Quickly touch on the Harry Kane thing, and then tell us why Jadon Sancho starting is such a good thing. Even though it's an obvious point, but we want to know
Yeah.
what you.
Okay, so I'll start with the Hurricane thing. The Tottenham setup was more or less based in and around Hurricane on how he makes his runs, what is the
Yeah.
space that he's leaving behind, and what are the kind of areas that he finds himself. Right.
Yeah.
So the 4-2-3-1 basically is Hurricane's formation. People are expected to feed the ball to him, and you mentioned the point of Son being a fast winger and Son being a provider. Knowing that Sterling can't, and Sterling is in a very good form at the moment, that's why they brought in Sancho, someone who can create space for Kane to run in, someone who can create
Yeah.
those channels for other people to run in. So even a Mason Mount can utilize those channels because given the formation, he's basically on a free roam at the moment. So he is expected to run into those channels and provide the ball to them. So now, given the fact that we have said why Hurricane is so important, uh, him creating because he makes a lot of off the ball movements. As a number nine in a 4-2-3-1, it is pivotal to the fact that he makes those movements on the left and on the right. Now, because he doesn't have that support on the left at the moment, he'll make those movements towards the right so that somebody can provide him the ball there. That is why, because Saka isn't playing, because Saka is injured, because Saka is brilliant in that, they have provided Sancho that opportunity to do that. And I'm sure that he's been the best that he's been in the last week or so. That is what I've heard in terms of training. And I have complete trust in this team at the moment that they are going to do well. So, now let's get to the Sancho point, I guess. If
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So Sancho, I see him linking more with Shaw and Kyle Walker making that overlapping run around the defender. So I'm expecting a one-on-one with Zinchenko and Sancho, which gives the space for Walker to run in behind. So either Walker makes an overlapping run or he replicates a City formation and makes an underlapping run, and which provides more and more opportunity for Harry Kane to provide. So
I just have a question for you. When you say you expect Shaw and Sancho to link up, I mean, I know that Southgate prefers playing Sterling on the left. So,
yeah.
oh yeah, wait, Zinchenko plays left back, doesn't he? I forgot. I got confused.
Zinchenko plays left back.
But then,
So
He's your
how do
team.
Luke Shaw and Sancho link up? Because he'll play on the right, right?
yeah, so actually what happens with Sancho as a player is that when there's, how do I say, so this team, the Ukrainian team right now, are looking at overloads on the side. And most
Yeah.
of the creativity at one point based on the left side. Now, because Shaw is so good with his runs, he can make a surprise overlap. So the surprise overlap will have two people to three people waiting on the box. That is where Sancho comes into play because he will be waiting either at the edge of the box to pounce onto that opportunity, or he is there to provide Shaw with that opportunity because Shaw loves to run in the box as well. So that is why I said that I'm seeing him linking with Shaw.
Fair point, man. Fair point. And I'll go to you, Amog. Again, what do you make of Jadon Sancho? Because I don't quite understand why Southgate has not really given him a chance, considering the fact that he has like 78 goal involvements since 2018-19. The only player to have the same amount of goal involvements is Harry Kane. Otherwise, there's no one there. So, what do you make of that, man? It's quite odd to see Jadon Sancho not starting.
Yeah, I think that's been a huge talking point so far in this Euro campaign. I mean, he's been in stellar form for Dortmund, and he and Sterling play a similar position in this sort of formation. We see Sancho playing on the left. Today, yeah, he also does play well on the right as well. But yeah, we see him, making those contributions on the left side. So yeah, I mean, I would say that I'm probably one of those people who was criticizing Southgate for keeping him out. But I think with the pressure of making this come home, he wants to make a statement with Sancho, and maybe there's pressure. Who knows? There's pressure that he's just completed his signing to United, and with that, maybe there's some spotlight on him that he wants to probably show at least in the Euros. So that could be one possibility. But in this game, I have a feeling that we'll see a lot of Sterling Sancho swapping on the wings. Um, you know, in tactical analysis of like other games, I've seen Sancho, make those sort of combinations with the other wingers at Dortmund. So that would be exciting. And plus, like, all these three players behind Kane play, in a number 10 role as well. Like they can. And the attacking threat that they provide is definitely going to be exciting to see. I mean, we've seen England lack that so far in this tournament, and finally they've sort of played a back four. We've seen them play full defensive, and it's just saved them, in terms of keeping clean sheets. But if they want to play an exciting tournament, Sancho is definitely that player who brings that sort of flair on the right. And yeah, it's a shame to see Saka, injured, but Sancho should have got that call up, honestly, over Saka in the previous games, I feel. But yeah, I mean, better late than never. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
my thinking behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that to be fair play to Saka, whenever he's played, second game, all right, he was a little middling.
Yeah.
But in the first game, he was the man of the match. He was terrific. He was pretty unplayable that night. But yeah, on the Sancho thing, again, I just it'll be great to play him just because he is that creator you need. So I feel when you play two wingers, one winger should be a goal scorer like Sterling. Like you can't not have Raheem Sterling, in my opinion. Even
Yeah.
pre-tournament, I was saying you have to have either Rashford or Sterling because you need a pacey winger. You can't do Foden and Grealish. Like it's a bit too slow. And Harry Kane, like it's a bit too slow. So having Sterling provides you that pace and a genuine goal threat. And Sancho is a creator. Like Foden's not comfortable on the right hand side. Saka's had a great season, but Sancho is truly world class. So yeah, I mean he's not started before. I think the whole Manchester United thing must have pushed that because I mean it is a huge move, and I suppose that must have factored into his thinking because otherwise he was just not in Southgate's plans at all. So that may be a reason. I'm not particularly sure, but I'm very excited to see him start. One thing that I'm quite surprised about is why Reece James is not starting this game, and the reason why I say
Thank
that is
you.
yeah, the reason why I say that is, see, if it's a big game, I'd play Kyle Walker because his experience, his versatility, how strong he is, how quick he is, it's a cheat code. We saw that in the last game as well. He was amazing. But in games like these where you're going to dominate the ball, you should play Reece James because Kyle Walker doesn't go forward these days. Whenever he does, his crossing is very poor. He's not used to doing it at City. As Pranay said, he always makes that underlapping run or he just stays in midfield. So that's not his role anymore. That was the Kyle Walker at Spurs. So in games where you're going to attack more, where you're going to dominate, you play Reece James 100%. In games where it's against a Germany or France, whoever it is, in those games you play a Kyle Walker. So I would have liked to see that link up only because Sancho and Hakimi used to link up really well. Sancho is one of those wingers who really utilizes his fullback well. Like he'll really get the best out of your fullback because he'll sort of drop in, the fullback will make that run, and vice versa. So I would have liked to see that, man. And there is this narrative that Sancho doesn't do well for England, but I think that's a bit overblown because he's not played enough. I mean, friendlies don't tell you anything. According to friendlies, I mean, Harry Kane scored what 12 goals in qualifying. He's not done much this tournament. That's not to discount Harry Kane. I'm just saying that a tournament is something completely different. But we've touched on Jadon Sancho, guys. Now let's do key players. By the way, in case someone noticed, Pranay is not here. Error 404. He's gone missing. We don't know where he is. So we hope he comes back. But let's touch on our key players. Ninaz, I'll go to you. Who's your key player for tonight?
Tonight I will be as
I have another question. Sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Forget key player, right? Let's make it more fun. If you had to predict a man of the match, who would it be?
Ah, I think I'll. So before I touch to that, I'll give my prediction. Just I expect Ukraine to edge this off, and I am actually going with a 2-1 Ukraine win.
Wow.
Oh my God. Save
Yeah,
the save the scorers and all. We go on to that at the end.
yeah.
But that's
Okay,
amazing.
so yeah, for that, for the man of the match, I needed to give you this context, and
Right.
then accordingly, I think the key match winners would be either Yarmolenko or Yaremchuk,
Okay. And
because
why do you think so? Yeah.
So, if you watch the game against Sweden, Ukraine versus Sweden, that was a nail-biting affair, and that was really amazing. And absolutely masterclass from Shevchenko. And I actually backed Ukraine as my dark horses going into the tournament, and I am pretty happy with my predictions. And the thing is now they do everything right, even if they are not scoring the goals. So defensive structure which Shevchenko sets up is absolutely brilliant. And now again we see a 3-5-2 which goes back to five at the back while defending, and that is a pretty solid structure. And
Yeah.
in a game like this where England is going all out attack, um, this five at the back structure is going to be working very hard, and there might be an opportunity at the counter which they will be using and scoring the goal. So I don't expect a lot of goals, and honestly, an England match, the goals are anyway a rarity, which we have already discussed.
Yeah.
I think that on the counter, England might suffer, even though England haven't done that so far in the tournament. Obviously, they haven't considered a single goal, but
Yeah.
I expect Shevchenko and his men to counter that and break that streak.
So, I mean, fair points made by you, by the way. Really good points. Just one thing: if it's Yaremchuk or Yamolenko, if you had to predict one, who's your pick?
Yarmolenko has been brilliant this tournament, so I have to go with Yarmolenko. He has been pulling all the strings for Ukraine, and I
Yeah.
think that's an obvious pick here.
Yeah, Ukrainian Robin for sure. Amok, for you, who's your man of the match and why is it Mason Mount?
um, so I mean, yeah, it's good to see Mount back in the squad,
Oh,
but
here we
I
go.
think
Here we go.
no. I'm not saying that he's my man of the match. I honestly, with all the firepower that they have up top, I think defensively it's gonna require a solid performance. So I mean, more or less, I'm actually going for Declan Rice on this one because I feel like with the 3-5-2 that Ukraine have, they are a very dicey team. I mean, they've played excellent football to where they've gotten right now, and to see Yarmolenko and Yamchuk playing up top. I honestly don't see the pace of Stones and Maguire, being able to probably catch them in between the lines. So I think Rice is going to be that sort of person to come back and mark one of those two. So I feel like he's going to be the supplier up top because I feel like with England going into this match trying to push with this whole defensive Ukraine approach, he'll be the one to feed it. He'll probably play this sort of unique Jorginho role, I hope. But he'll also put in the more defensive work to at least contain this game. So I'm with Declan Rice on this one. But what about you, Srini? What do you think? Who do you
That's a,
think is going to be the man of the match?
that's an interesting shout. And shout out to Jorginho, by the way. If you've been
Yeah,
watching the
brilliant
Euros,
campaign.
Jorginho has been superb. Like he's I think he's been Italy's best midfielder. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's been the best. Honestly, he's been amazing. But so yeah, that was to bring a smile to your face. I know you love that from me. Man of the match wise, bro, I have no. You know what? Predicting England games is very tough for me because they have so much talent going forward, but they barely create anything. So you have to go with the defender, but then they have added Jadon Sancho, so that's a bit of a caveat there. Man of the match wise, oh my god, it's tough. I'll just go Raheem Sterling. Just because Raheem Sterling scores goals. It's just an easy pick. Like it's just easy. I'm playing it safe because again, like I'd like to see a good attacking performance. And saying Jadon Sancho is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit dicey for me. I'm not sure right now. So I'll go Raheem Sterling just because he bags goals. 3 goals in 4 games. He's been a surprise to everyone. I mean, pre-tournament for most people, Raheem Sterling wasn't even starting for them. He wasn't starting in my team also. I was saying he's had a really poor season. No way in hell should he be starting, but he's been amazing, man. He really is one of the golden ball picks as well for me because he's just been so clinical, uh, which is something that he gets criticized for because his finishing can be a little all over the place. But guy's a proven elite goal scorer, and that's kind of why I'm going for him. I don't think he'll have an amazing game, but I think he'll just score. and because he scores, he'll get like the star of the match because you know how it goes. They just give to the person who scores goals. It's very predictable. So yeah, I'll go for Raheem Sterling.
Yeah,
We've
just a
touched a
second.
lot.
Sorry
Yeah,
to
yeah.
interrupt. One more out of the box shout for man of the match could be the goalkeepers. Like we saw yesterday with Switzerland against Spain, both the goalkeepers were pretty amazing. So any of the goalkeepers tonight could also just bag the man of the match award.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, let's face it, Jan Sommer should have won the man of the match, but
Yeah.
shout out to Unai
Absolutely.
Simon, my guy. I support Spain. If you know, you know, and we've done it finally.
Simone
Semi-finals.
has had an excellent campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, and you love to see it. Finally, we've done something. God, lucked our way to the semi-finals, to be honest. But all right, very quickly, don't analyze it, and then we'll go predictions and all of that. You said your alternate man of the match is one of the goalkeepers, right? So let's say because you're going for Ukraine win, you'll go for the Ukrainian keeper. Amok, just give me a name, alternate man of the match shout. Who's it going to be? Tough, tough,
That's a
so
tough
tough.
one. I said Rice, but I mean, if see this, I mean, historically, this sort of fixture has seen only 4 goals in their last,
Yeah,
I guess, 4 meetings or something. So like, it's a pretty low scoring game historically. So I mean, I'll tell you my predictions later, but I still feel like if England are to bag the goals, our creator Mason Mount will deliver. I
this
feel
guy.
like he will be the man of the match, alternate man of the match in this case. Yeah.
Not surprised to see you go for Mason Mount.
Oh come
Uh,
on, you picked Sterling, man. I mean, he's a City guy. I mean, that was
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah. But no,
special.
but just because I don't have hope, like with the attacking players for England. Like, but if Sancho has a great game, I'd love to see that. He's so good. Alternate man of the match for me. Jeez, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I'll go Harry Kane. I'll go Harry Kane. Why not? I'm saying Harry Kane scoring tonight. He's gonna go on a little bit of a run because that's what strikers do. They score one and they keep going. Classic Wayne Rooney, if you know, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Harry Kane. But let's do quick predictions, guys. We've covered pretty much everything. Actually, you know what? I'll go to you, Nanad. You have, to be fair, mentioned that Ukraine will win. But do you think that Austria approach or that Hungary approach really works in these games? Because I think that's something I want to touch on for sure. Because I think that this counter-attacking approach with a very low block works. So you are convinced that that'll happen, right?
Yeah, so now, as you just mentioned, those games like Austria, Hungary, or even for that matter, Switzerland against France, the, the low block generally gives you a defensive solidity and lets you just use your opportunities. And if you are clinical about them, then you have the game in your pants pockets. And so the thing is,
Thanks.
so the thing is, uh, if they manage to do that and get them on the counter, England can be hurt. And as you just mentioned, that the pace of John Stones and Harry Maguire might be lacking against the likes of Yaremchuk and uh, Yarmolenko. And even for that matter, Zinchenko getting forward is really good. And he was man of the match against Sweden, and everyone knows why. So it it can hurt England, and I do think it will work.
Fair
And
point.
with
So, yeah, yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
and with now this 4-2-3-1 formation, Sancho coming in, they are going all out on attack, and if they are doing that, they are going to let spaces out on the back, and that might be dangerous for England.
Fair shout. I'll go to you, Amog, as well. But there's an amazing prediction. Mayank says 1-0 Hungary. Zinchenko cross loading. I think you mean to say Ukraine. That clearly shows that some people just are watching this for England. But yeah, 1-0 Ukraine. Yeah, put some respect on their name. Mayank Bande, by the way, shout out to you, Mayank. You're always in the comments. So yeah, really well done. Big love to you, all of that. He says humanity needs an England L. English fans have been absolutely shite. I don't curse on YouTube, all over social media and as a crowd as well. You know what? I do agree with that. Like England should reach the final. I want to see them in the final, but I do think they really everyone over analyzes England a lot. Oh, should Walker play, or should Reece James play, or should his sister start? Forget that, man. Let it go for a second. Shout out to Lauren James. Mayank Bande says, yes, sorry, my bad. Yeah, exactly. Vikram S says, elbow cough, elbow cough, elbow cough. So that's great analysis from you, Vikram. And Yash Majumdar drops a muscle emoji with a fire emoji. So that's a compliment to us. So thank you so much. Nice one, bro. All right. So let's do quick predictions and then let's wrap it up. Amog, tell us your score, your scorers, and why you think the game will pan out the way it will.
I think England will win it. I think it'll be a 2-1 win. I think they'll just narrow it out. I think. They defensively have been really strong this campaign, but that's because they've been playing a back three in frequent formations. So playing a back four at this stage could cost them. I feel like Yarmolenko will punish them early on, I feel. So that's probably one goal in for him. And I think 2 goals, right? I mean, I said in the beginning, I think Harry Kane will deliver, but my man of the matches will be Rice and Mount because I feel they are the ones who are going to solidify the midfield, especially Rice. So yeah, 2-1 England. It'll be nervy, I feel. And Zinchenko, I think, is going to play a really important part in this game.
I just
as a
want to
left back.
interrupt you real quick because Pranay is back. He's back
It was
finally.
such a nightmare. It was such a nightmare. There was a very sudden electricity cut here, and then
Yeah.
everything
We
just
get
went
it.
down.
We get it's cool. Don't need to apologize. Amog, you can complete your point. Then we'll go to Pranay for a couple of questions. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's back. Nice. And then we'll wrap the show up. Amog, sorry, I interrupted you because Pranay came back out of nowhere. So, like Jadon Sancho is in this team. So, yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so a 2-1 England win, nervy win. Yarmolenko, a Kane brace. These are my scores. I think, like I said, Rice is going to put a man of the match performance. I think with
After a
the
keen brace, you are saying Rice would be the man of the match. That's pretty weird.
yeah, I mean, see, it's not always about the goal scoring. I feel like we've seen a lot of players in this tournament. I mean, we've seen like someone like Billy Gilmore in a 0-0 draw with England, be the man of the match. I feel like Rice is gonna definitely make sure that Ukraine are sent home. So I feel he is gonna play a key part defensively. But yeah, I mean, 2-1 England. Hopefully it comes home. Too early to say, maybe. But yeah, that's my prediction. What do you think, Pranay, prediction-wise?
Okay, I am also going for a 2-1, but I am going for two different kinds of scorers. I'm going for one for Harry Kane and one for Sterling. So that's going to be my one. I see Calvin Phillips putting up a man of the match performance because he's been running riot for this English team at the moment. So that's
Fair point, man. Fair point. Very crisp, very precise. Let's go to Ninad because he did tell us his score, which is 2-1 Ukraine. So, spoiler alert. But yeah, just quickly touch on that, man. I know you have already, but you're really confident about that. I'm surprised by how confident you are about that.
Yeah, so I have already given a lot of spoilers of my predictions and my scorers. So it is going to be 2-1 to Ukraine, one penalty for Harry Kane, and two scorers, maybe both of them Yarmolenko, or maybe one Yarmolenko, one Yaremchuk. And I think this might go to extra time, and they might do it the Sweden way, the way they did against Sweden, that maybe in the last few dying seconds they might score and just avoid penalty shootout. So let's see. Pretty hopeful about that.
Fair point, man. Fair point. There's a couple of more comments, and then we'll go to my prediction. I have no idea what my prediction is, by the way. I just hope it's a fun game because the round of 16s have and the quarters and all that have spoiled us. So I don't want to see a boring game because I'm going to sacrifice my sleep yet again. So yeah, I hope it's a game worthwhile watching. But Sahil Goenka says interested to see how Sancho plays on the right. At Dortmund, he tends to drift on the left, but that could leave an overload on the left, which could be easier to defend. To be fair to Jadon Sancho, he's probably one of the few wingers in the world who can play on both flanks, and he's as good. Like his stats on the left are better, but he was amazing on the right, like in his second season at Dortmund. So I think he'll be great wherever he plays. Mayank Pandey with a compliment to Ninad. He says Ninad knows ball. Yeah, Ninad does
Thank
know
you.
ball. Shout out to Ninad. All right, my prediction. Jesus, I have no idea what my prediction is. I'll go for. My God, I have no idea.
They'll
Oh
all
man,
draw and penalties.
I hope we see penalties. I love watching penalties. It's amazing. I'll go for 2-0 England, 2-1 England. I'll go for 2-1 England as well. Harry Kane, Sterling for me as well, just like Pranay, and yeah, just a banger from Yarmolenko because that's what he does, right? 2-1 England, but yeah, I think it's going to be a game where England look really good for 20 minutes before they just score a random goal that Sterling scores, and it's just the usual rubbish that we see. We'll probably see like an equalizer that'll be scary, and then Kane scores, and Kane becomes the golden boy. And yada yada yada. I mean, it's so predictable that it's tough to predict. If I don't know if that makes sense, but it does because the same thing happens over and over again. But shout out to England, they're doing really well. Couple of more predictions. Sahil Goenka says 1-0 England, Mount with the winner. I hope that happens. I'm also a part of Mason Mount FC, so I hope that happens. Mayank Bande says no penalties, man. Have to wake up for Argentina Ecuador at 6:30. Yeah, to be fair, the quarterfinals, right? That's kind of tempting, man. But you know what? With all this football, you feel like you're not doing anything in life. So I'm not gonna watch that. But let's see. You've kind of tempted me there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Do you want to touch on something else? Think of something on the spot, and then we'll call it a day. Amog, any ideas? Pranay, Ninad, any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a question I don't think we touched upon, but with this formation that Ukraine is playing, how do you think they're going to go about this game? Like, tactically, we've not seen this sort of England formation in a while, but they've been playing it safe till now, and Ukraine have had a really good campaign, at least getting to this stage. So, what do you think is key here in terms of how are they going to approach this game? And given, let's say, they follow Ninad's prediction, what do you think is going to happen there? I mean, we've talked about like early, maybe 20 minutes of England, as Srinivas said, they'll pick it up and then later maybe drop back. But how do you see them tactically maybe approaching this game, given the formations? It's
Pranay,
an
you can
open
go.
question for everyone. Yeah.
Pranay, you can
Okay,
go
so
first. Yeah.
okay, so I'll go first. I see them in a mid to low block, so maintaining a very decentish line because that's what they've been doing the throughout campaign, right? They've maintained a decent mid line, but they've also been a very tough team to break down, and they've been very good with their patch. So how do I say this? So in their patches of transition, they've been superb. I don't remember being a team this better in their offensive transitions, because I've seen them progressing the ball really quickly from their mid block. So they tend to set up in a mid to low block and then transitioning the ball from there. And they will be a difficult team to break down. That is what my expectations are. That is what a 3-5-2 generally suggests. But this is a different 3-5-2. They have Zinchenko playing inwards rather than an outward left wing back. So I see them adjusting in a four at the back as well, with Zinchenko dropping back sometimes to create a similar formation to what England have been playing. But I also see them in a mid to low block somewhere around the 68th minute if the scores are level at that point, to drag it on to extra time and penalties, hopefully. So that is my expectation with the kind of approach that Ukraine are going to have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
yeah, well said from you, man. I mean, I think that teams should generally, when they are not fancied, I think they should go for a three at the back in general because it's obviously much more safer. And with a three at the back, I feel that the width that a three at the back offers you, I know it's very obvious, but it can't be matched. Like you saw what Germany did, for example. Like normal wingers can't do that because they're literally stationed to sort of perform that role. Is Zinchenko the perfect person for that? I don't really think so. Unpopular opinion. I'm a City fan, by the way, in case you don't know. So like Zinchenko is a natural midfielder. So even when he plays at left back, he plays like a midfielder. Like he comes very inwards. He'll find those line breaking passes. His crossing has really improved, but he's not like his pace has nothing to do with his game, for example. So I think it'd be really good for Ukraine if they sort of do what City do and play Zinchenko in this hybrid left back midfielder role because he'll be more involved in build up. And the more Ukraine do that, the better it will be. Like one thing that Switzerland did really well against France is they won the ball back, but they weren't rushing to break. They kept the ball, they slowed the pace down. I really like that. It's very mature. You don't have to keep going because ultimately, if you're trying to counter, if you lose the ball, England have Raheem Sterling, England have Jadon Sancho, they'll counter on you and they'll destroy you. So I think Ukraine need to sort of make sure that there's a fine balance between going in and countering and also just keeping possession, because ultimately their best case scenario is to get penalties in extra time. If we're being realistic, it is. So yeah, and you follow the Hungary and the Austria model of just frustrating them constantly by really playing a like a 5-3-2-1 low deep block or something like that. Like you need to do things like that because you just can't offer these guys space, especially someone like Sterling, because Sancho in those one-on-one situations is a dribbler. That's more of his game. So yeah, they need to make sure that Harry Kane and Sterling and all these guys want the ball to feed constantly. That's a good thing for Ukraine. The more you allow these guys to make their runs, England could still terrorize you because they have all the personnel to do that. So I think a low block, making sure Zinchenko is involved in build up and keeping the ball well. Like I can't stress that enough. Don't waste possession because ultimately you will inevitably lose. Like England can get superstars off the bench to change the game. So don't be impatient with it and play the game in phases because the game won't be won and lost in 15 minutes. So you have a long game to go. So like Switzerland in the second half was so much better in the first half. They played a different game. So yeah, I'd like to see something like that. If they do, I don't think it's impossible for Ukraine to at least push England to the brink, if not win. So yeah, that's my take. I think Ninad's mentioned his take. So I think let me take a couple of the comments, and I think we should wrap up because the game's in 19 minutes. Everyone's getting excited, England and all of that. So Mayank Pandey, the compliment to Amok. Mayank Pandey, you're coming with a lot of compliments. How about some for Pranay and myself as well? He says, nice accent, Amok. Haha, Amok has an exotic accent. He's not basic like us, not a basic Indian like us. Mayank Pandey also says, no penalties. Oh yeah, you said that already. Sorry, I read that. Oh shit, that's the only comment. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, done. The live is finished. That's not my outro. I'm just saying we've discussed every single thing for you guys. We've discussed Ukraine. We've done our predictions, scorers, all of that. So if Ninad's prediction does come right, someone needs to gift him a Ukraine shirt. Probably get him on a FaceTime with Andriy Shevchenko, all of that, because he's really backing them. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you are watching and you're not subscribed, you shouldn't even watch the Euros because you don't respect us. So you've got to subscribe right now. You've got to like the video. You've got to follow us on IG, Twitter, Facebook. We've stopped using because Facebook is for like 50-year-olds. Let's be honest. But follow us on IG. Follow us on Twitter. Don't follow us on Tinder. We're not there yet. Unless we get a sponsor, we are not there yet. I can't stress that enough. And thank you so much to you guys as well for making your debuts. Excellent debuts from you guys. Fantastic. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And until next time, of course, you know where to be, MTAC TV. And also, check out the website because we drop regular content on the Euros. That is fact. Check out the website. And what else? I was supposed to say something else. Oh, yeah. Whenever you comment on the videos, always tell us where you want to see us. Do you want to see us on IG Live? Do you guys want to see us on Clubhouse? Is YouTube Live your thing? Does this time suit you? Do you guys want us to do lives at like 8 or something like that? Let us know. If you don't let us know, we won't know. But yeah, until next time, we move.